When it comes to culture either side of the Atlantic, no one does it better. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you USUK's What's the Difference podcast with Alex Whiteley and Tom Bruno. Why didn't I use the Jonathan Joss one? Why did I use that?
I don't know. I like that so much, though. Can I just say that I'm very full of myself? I was like, I like that Tom Bruno guy, and I like what he's saying right now. I like this whole thing. That was excellent. When did you make that?
That's a cool intro.
That's been our intro for a while, Tom.
I don't listen to the show. That's why I wouldn't know.
Uh-oh. But we have a new one, obviously, because we had Jonathan Joss of King of the Hill and Parks and Recreation fame, and he was like, listen to the show. Don't take it like you did my land. And I like that one. It's actually good that we mix it up a bit, which is wicked. Hi, guys. Welcome to What's the Difference podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley.
And I'm Tom Bruno.
Hey, and we're here today to bring. We're going to redo a show that Tom did a while ago without me because I was doing something else. But I was so gutted that I couldn't be part of that show. We had to redo it because I'm a big fan of our guest, and that's Matt Connarton. And he's brought along Jenny as well from Matt Connarton Unleashed from WMNH, New Hampshire. There you go.
There you go.
Got it. From New Hampshire. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we're excited.
I missed you. I can't believe I missed you last time because I do love your show. I was watching religiously at one point. Not so much at the moment because I'm working on a lot of editing and stuff at the moment, but I'm starting to catch up. I'm starting to tune in on one or two nights a week. And I'd love to talk to you about sort of where this all came. This whole radio thing that you do, Matt. I'm sure you spoke about it with Tom. But where did it all begin for you jumping on the radio?
For me, well, it started about a little over 20 years ago. If you want to go all the way back when I was in college and working in the music industry a bit and doing radio promotion, working with clients to get their music on the radio. And I played in a lot of bands and, I went on with one of the bands I was in on this internet radio show called The Metal Classroom. This would have been maybe 2005. And the show needed a new host. And the gentleman who was managing the station, it was this internet station called Rage Rock Radio. It's not around anymore. But they needed a new host, and the station manager liked me and thought I was good on the air. So I got offered the gig, and that was the first radio show that I ever hosted. And that led to me producing and working on other shows with people. And it's, without going through the whole minutia of it, I started Matt Connarton Unleashed, the show that I do now, 10 years ago, actually. It was in the summer of 2011. And I started it as a weekly 1 hour podcast. And then it'll be 4 years in April that I've been on FM. I had connections with WMNH, and I was offered the opportunity to bring the show to FM radio, which is a little bit backward because a lot of people who do podcasts, they start out in terrestrial radio and then they get fired. And then they go the podcasting route and end up being very successful that way. I kind of did it backward. I had a podcast with I don't know who was listening to it, but I impressed enough people to get the opportunity at WMNH, and being on FM has actually helped me, build and develop the show. And Jenny's been a big part of that as well. She's on the show with me sometimes, usually a couple of times a week, and has also helped build and promote and bring on guests and whatnot. It's really, really kind of blown up, and we even meet people from the UK who become involved in the show. So there you go.
I think it's possibly on the No Rules podcast group or something like that. I saw your show, and I clicked on it because sometimes there's a lot of bullshit on those channels, on those podcasty type channels. But this one I clicked on, I thought, let's give it a go. and it was just nice to have on in the background. It was just, it really warmed me. So I really liked it, and what I love about you, Jenny, as well.
That's super cool.
It was only awkward when he was doing it while making, some people play music when they're making love. Alex plays your show for some reason. He's like, I just gotta get my political views in.
Well,
gives me a good rhythm. It's pretty.
I'll be mid-swing and I'll be like, hold on. Oh, that's an interesting fact. Carry on.
Well, we try to, we try to keep the show sexy,
Yeah, you got it. We do the same thing. We ask each other every day. We're like, how can we bring more sexy to the show? And then Alex will do things like, bring a Monopoly board, and he's just like, hey, that's sexy. I'm like, fuck yeah, it is. It is. Trying to bring a good show.
We're willing. We can appreciate. We get out there.
Question. Matt, do you have a good radio voice? I mean, I know that you have a good radio voice, but you remember how like back in like the 90s, you'd be like, "Welcome back in the FM." Do you remember like how
He's radio was like that, folks?
Remember when radio was amazing? Do you guys have like a good radio voice?
I kind of when I have to voice a commercial, I can. I mean, I don't really change it much. I might try to be a little bit, speak with a little bit deeper, maybe try to be a little less nasally than I am, but I don't have.
It's very hard for you to do. I mean, admittedly so.
Shape of my nose.
Yeah.
I mean, people tell me I have a good, I know, I think I have a good radio voice, but I know I don't have a great radio voice. There's people on WMNH. I don't know if you've ever heard the morning show with Peter White, but I think Jenny will agree. Peter has a great radio voice.
He does.
Yeah.
Some people generally just have like that great radio voice. We had a buddy of mine, Mike Tino, on, and like I work with this dude, and he's like just a thin, normal guy, but he's got this voice of like a Greek god where you're like, whoa, dude, that's coming out of you? Weird.
Yeah, it makes me jealous when I hear someone with a really great radio voice. I get very envious.
You can get sexy there on occasion, you've been known.
Well, I know that's how we roped in That's how we roped in Alex.
And besides, man, you have that New Hampshire accent, which as a Vermonter, I'm like, I love New England.
Well, Jenny's got the best accent, especially when she's pissed. When she's pissed off, she gets it really accentuates it. Honestly, I don't know how
mishmash.
Yeah, you guys. This is why we do this show, is to talk about culture from either side of the planet, either side of the ocean, should I say? It's the same thing. Americans have a very distinctive radio style. If I was to go on British radio and go, "Hey guys, it's USUK Radio, it's Alex Whiteley and Tom Bruno," and then playing sound effects and ding ding ding, and then all that crazy shit that you guys do in America, people would be like, "What am I listening to?"
What's radio over there? I mean, like we have NPR, which NPR is kind of like the very. I actually like NPR. It's so weird because like the things we don't like as kids, right? My mom played VPR and NPR all the time in the car. I fucking hated it. And then especially on Sundays, because, my mom is a pastor's daughter. So church was a very, very big deal to her. So every single Sunday it's get up, go to church, blah, blah. And the way to and fro was like Garrison Keillor and things along those lines. And I hated it as a kid. I hated it so much. Like, this is fucking boring, Mom. Play some classic rock. You know what's good. But then like nowadays I love NPR, something fierce. And is that kind of like what radio is over there, Alex?
I mean, it has the your typical sort of intros to radio stations. You're listening to the radio station farm, and it will do that sort of stuff. But you guys take it to another level. But once the show starts, it's usually like, especially if you're on the BBC. The BBC, I went to watch some shows being produced for BBC Radio Shropshire, because what I do with the Shrewsbury Biscuit is a lot more sophisticated, a bit like what you do, Matt. But like, I try not to. I wanted to structure a show properly, and they let me go and watch it.
Structure.
That's something. That's very different from what I do.
Fly by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
It's good. It builds. I feel that flying by the seat of your pants. Like we used to have, like we used to have ideas. We used to have good ideas. And we would sit there like outline a show and be like, "This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about." But slowly, slowly, it stayed like that for like what, maybe like 20 episodes or something, Alex.
Something like that.
So 20 episodes, we had the outline, and then all of a sudden, like, we just started kind of free flowing the whole thing. And I don't know if the shows necessarily got better, but we had more fun doing it, and that was kind of what was important.
Yeah. I think when we have fun on air, that's way more attractive than to just give, just diarrhea of the mouth information. It's more interesting, and it allows other people to be involved too. The live listeners that are calling in or whatever, getting to they're right along with you.
Yeah, my show is very reactive that way. I'm kind of reacting to what's happening on the phone in the chat room and breaking news.
Some people have like an outline, and they want to keep that structure, and that's totally cool for what they're doing. But I think Evening Drive that has fun and gets people kind of laughing or gives them information, that nice mix is a great way to end the day. You've already had a day, whatever your day has been, you're finally getting to go home for dinner. You don't want somebody just giving you rote information. Odds are, you'd like to have it kind of mixed up a little bit. I mean, I think that's why we have the following that we do, is because we don't sit there with our outline. We don't do things hard and fast. If something happens in the middle of the show and is suddenly like breaking news or whatever, we'll just flip. We'll go right to it.
I think,
and that's the kind of radio that I like. I love that, but I don't think that would fit in. I think I'm attracted to your show because that's the kind of show that I would like to make, or I would love to get on radio. But I just wouldn't fit with the format because I like the fuck ups. I like the breaking audio, and I like the organic slips of the tongue and the arguments and the chemistry. Like,
I got one word I slip all the time.
I wouldn't fit with BBC. Good. BBC's like, hello and welcome to BBC Radio Shropshire, and today it's Alex Whiteley. Hey guys, welcome to the breakfast show.
Yeah, but the BBC knows how to lay down a comedy, though. I like a lot of when I was in the Netherlands, I watched a lot of the BBC comedies, like old school comedies too, and I think they're great. I sit there for hours just binge watching them.
Some of the best things about the show is, like, I don't always understand Alex's humor, especially in the beginning. Like, now I've been working with him. We've been doing this for like almost 3 years now. And like, I get it now. Like, I understand when he's joking. I understand when he's pulling my leg and things along those. But the first like year and a half, I didn't always understand his British humor. And he just drop, like, he'd be like, and just stop. And I'd be like, that wasn't funny. Oh shit, I'm not making him laugh. I'm not doing my job. And then afterwards he'd be like, dude, you were so funny the whole time. I was laughing. I'm like, no, you weren't. You were making me feel so unaccomplished. I just want to die.
But I don't think that's a British thing. I think that's just an Alex thing, if I'm honest. Because
is it?
Tom Stevens, his laugh is so infectious. He throws himself back. He's like, almost a Brian Blessed type real chuckle. Whereas I'm kind of like, yeah, moving on.
Oh, you fuck.
You know what?
I do.
One thing. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I do feel like British humor, though, does tend to be drier, just generally in a macro sense than American humor. That is my perception.
I agree.
My connection to British humor is oi, because that's their word and my word. I'm like oy vey, and they're oi.
Yeah, they're different oys.
That's my connection.
I've picked up so many British colloquialisms. It's unreal. Like, when people have a conversation with me, they're like, oh, are you from England? I'm like, no, I just talk with an English dude like twice a week for the last fucking 3 years. And like, I pick up all sorts of little sayings. And when my kids are like running away from me in the store, I'm like, oi! And they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're so like
crisps.
New England.
My favorite one is sawed off. That's my favorite.
I don't even know what that means. No, I was just gonna say, I don't even know what that means. Sawed off.
It means piss off, basically. That mean? Sawed off.
Oh, okay.
Sawed off. Yeah. It's like F off, only it's nicer in a way. Maybe not in Britain, but here it is.
Well, Alex, you had said to me in Messenger when we were talking about the show, you said looking forward to having a natter with you, and I don't know what that means. I assume I assume it means conversation or
like
something,
but I don't actually know. Is that like a sandwich? Is you gonna make him a natter?
Yeah, I'd say that's his way of asking for nudes.
Oh no.
He's like, I want to see your natter.
Out at this point, it's all yours.
That's how he got me That's how he got me the first time too. He's like, "Hey, Tom, want to have a natter?" I was like, "Oh, I typed it." I'm like, "That's a conversation." Then I start getting DMs, and I'm like, "Hey, that's not a natter," but I'm still pretty interested.
I'd be like, "You'll never forget me. You'll never forget me."
Oh no, there are too many people that send pictures that shouldn't in this world.
I've said this so many times that I would hate to be a woman associated with social media these days. Honestly, Dee Dee is my co-host for the Shrewsbury Biscuit, and she started getting dick pics and stuff and weird stuff because of her association with the biscuit.
What?
Because,
it's so wholesome.
Right? I get a lot of widowed men with young children looking for a new mom to come into their family. It's like, God, no.
I've actually listened to the Shrewsbury Biscuit. I've never once heard it scream out, "Show me dicks." Like, it's usually a little bit classier than that. Right? That's our show. Like, the fact that you and me don't get dick pics on a daily basis is what surprises me.
You don't?
There are some weirdos out there, and I don't know what they're thinking. And who does this work on? Oh, I'm a poor, lonely widow with a shit ton of money. You know, I think it's like, who does this work on?
Thing, isn't it? That, oh my God, she's seen me now. That's where that comes from. I think it's a dark-seeded thing rather than I want to marry her. I'm going to send her a picture of me old tackle. That'll work. It's never going to work. I think you're right.
Oh no,
Matt. Your show is very political, and I love that you can have these conversations. Because I mean, I've watched your show before when Jenny has had a controversial thought or something like that, and you guys have talked about it, and you haven't gone, "No, this is my belief. This is what's going to happen, and this is how you guys discuss it." And you're like, "Oh, okay, maybe you got a good point there." And I think we had a discussion about, I can't remember what it was this week actually.
Gina Carano.
Yeah, the comments that she made about comparing the. Yeah.
Well, we can say. I mean, you act like we can't say it. She's comparing right-wing people to the Jews during the Holocaust, and like that's I mean, my personal opinion is I'm like, well, that's kind of a stupid thing to say. It's not a really good comparison. There's other comparisons that you could have made, but me and Alex got in this whole conversation about, you know, I'm a big believer in freedom of speech. Like I've always been in the mindset. It's like, listen, I don't have to like what you say, but I'm going to fight for the right for you to say it because that's what America's built on. And like, I don't totally always agree with cancel culture. You know, there's a lot of things about it that I just feel is very toxic in its own way, even though it's based on, you know, good ideas of like, hey, we don't want you to say shit that's really going to hurt people's feelings. It's like, okay, I get that. But at the same exact point in time, you can't just end somebody's career because they say something stupid. This is why conversations are important, because I say tons of shit that's stupid. And if you just took me at face value without hearing any thought process behind it, you know, I could be the most horrible person in the world. But because this conversation is actually had, you know, you get a real idea and you can see the roots of why I might think something along those lines. So it's a weird thing, right?
You have to be able to hear the other person and be open to whatever their ideals are. Like one we've talked on a lot is the death penalty here in the United States, and that is something that at one point in time I was in favor of, and I actually changed my opinions on it because I learned about a lot of cases that were innocent people getting killed.
Yeah,
literally. You know,
I'm from a town in the UK that's responsible for the cancellation of the death penalty. George Riley in the 60s was executed here in Shrewsbury at the prison, and there was not enough evidence. In fact, they think it was a cover-up as to why he was. The fact he was executed was about, shit, we better do something about this. He was a special needs guy that was accused of murdering someone whilst he had about 18 pints in him, which, yes.
I mean, okay, so now we're on this topic. I have mixed feelings about the death penalty. With the sheer fact that like there's certain people that do certain things, like, and I mean, like, without a shadow of a doubt, and that's kind of like my bottom line of it is like, if there's not a shadow of a doubt that this person did this, and like you have them on camera, and I know it's always going to be harder than that, right? Like, there's never ever a clear cut case, but there's plenty of people out there that have done horrible, horrific things to children. And I kind of feel like those people should get the death penalty. I'm not
But
gonna
there's
lie.
zero way in law. There's absolutely zero way in law to guarantee that it's only them.
Yeah,
You can't put that. And a case that Alex would probably may have a familiarity to is within the last year, there was a contestant on America's Got Talent, and it was a Black gentleman who had an amazing voice. Turns out his story is that he was in jail for 38 years for attacking a white woman. And he was 100% innocent, and that was proven through DNA evidence. DNA evidence. So, and this is happening. There's way more I could get into about that particular thing. But here's somebody that tangible proof that I can sit in front of you and say this happened. This man sat in jail for 38 years, accused of a crime that he didn't commit. It was now proven beyond a shadow of a doubt in scientific evidence. Had he been sentenced to the death penalty, we'd be going, oh, well, too bad, too sad. It wasn't him. Oh, we killed him. And that's happened. Though there are cases that we can point to and say, these people are dead and they were innocent. And they were a victim of a judiciary system that basically, if you were a minority accused of attacking somebody that was white, it was almost guaranteed that you'd go to jail whether you were guilty or not. The accusation alone.
And there's also cases on the reverse, right? Like if you think about the Hurricane, very famous boxer back in the day who Bob Dylan actually wrote a song about. Here comes the story of a hurricane. It's interesting because Bob Dylan won't sing that song any longer because he fought to get him off, right? Like he made a whole campaign about getting the Hurricane off of this crime that he apparently did not commit, and then later on in life he was like, no, I totally did all that. So there's also stories of the reverse of that. People that were
but are you willing to kill? How many innocent people are you willing to kill to get to the one guilty person? Because that's what you have to trade. That's what you have to trade.
I don't want to kill anyone per se, but once again, like it depends. Like it really needs to be on a case by case basis. Now I saw that Netflix documentary. Generally a jury of our peers and things along those lines. It's interesting because I saw that Netflix documentary about all those people that were on, death row, and they were completely innocent and they were proven innocent by DNA evidence or what have you. And
not only that, of course, they were convicted mostly by all white male juries.
Yeah,
the vast majority of these cases that we're finding are all white male juries and Black men. That's an overwhelming amount of these cases, way beyond what we should have by population numbers. It's staggering how many of these cases are 100% minority men.
It's a difficult decision for anyone to make. And one of the guys I'm trying to get on the show is a guy called Raphael Rowe. And he hosts the show Inside the World's Toughest Prisons, right? And he was jailed for like 13 years, or it was 13 or 18, and he was wrongfully convicted. He lost like all those years of his life, and it turned him into a journalist. He went and he worked for the BBC, and he did Inside the World's Toughest Prisons. But I do recommend anyone to watch, because what he does is he gets himself processed as a prisoner for a few days in some of the world's biggest shithole prison, and then he spends the next few days working with the guards and working out sort of where the problems are and
that's
why
amazing.
these prisons are so bad. Yeah, honestly, the last season was so scary because they literally surrounded him in the cell and they were like, "Give me your shoes, you do this for us, you mop, you clean," and he was just kind of like, "And what are you going to do if I don't?" He's like, "We'll kill you."
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah. Has anyone seen that show? I don't know the title exactly. It's where they take people and they go into it's similar thing, like these regular everyday people. I think it's like 60 Days Out or something like that. They go into prison and they go undercover to like find out the worst aspects of prison and stuff like that. I got so obsessed with that show for so long. I'm like, what are these people doing? Like, who just voluntarily goes into a prison assuming that they're gonna like do something?
One of the guys in there committed suicide after he came back out. One of the men on the 90 Days In committed suicide after being released.
Was it that gentleman that the Latin gentleman, the one that was part of the gangs before? Because he seemed really like fucked up. When he got out of that
it was the young white guy who started acting more like a inmate than somebody that was undercover. Like he was trading commissary and doing everything he shouldn't have done. And then even in the interviews, he literally acted like he was really a criminal in there, and it was an us versus them mentality. He took on that role.
No way.
Seriously, he was all in. That's the one that a few months, I guess, after being released, he committed suicide. Is what my understanding is.
I think Alex would be phenomenal at that show. He's a really good. No, seriously, like it's a joke and everything.
Enough money to go in there. No,
but Alex is a really good like in-person actor. Like he does roles and stuff, live events and whatnot. And he puts on these personalities that you would swear that he's literally insane. He's very good at kind of like filling in the mold, I guess, per se. So I honestly feel like if they would be like, all right, Alex, you're going to be a prisoner for the next 9 days, I think you could do it. You might get a little, little lonely. I mean, you can fill that position too, though. I think it'd be excellent.
There we go.
He's right. I work at Shrewsbury Prison, which is closed now. Closed in 2013, and it's now a tourist attraction. It's one of UK's oldest prisons. It's actually originally a Georgian prison. And what they do is they run like prison escapes there. They turn it into a scare park during the Halloween seasons. And I've played prisoners. I've played zombies. I've played chefs. I've played
that's cool.
Demonic butcher. It's good, right? And they had me playing as a cross-dressing, like an ex-drag entertainer that got wrongfully accused of. It was so fun. So fun because they give me a wig and let me put makeup on and just be like, just walk into my cell, yeah? Just walk into people's room, do you? Just walk on in here, help yourself to my things. I don't think so. Get the fuck out of my room. Go absolutely crazy. I mean, it's so good.
Wow.
When I was an EMT and I was doing tutoring, we would do these live scenarios to bring the fresh students through. My favorite thing was to play somebody that was just completely gone, and I'm like in the bathroom stall, and they send you in for a sick person, and they come in there, and I'm like throwing shoes at them over the top of the stall, and they have to figure out how to interact with you and get you to actually cooperate with care. But that's fun.
I love disappearing for a bit and just not being me for a bit. The last sort of run of Prison Escapes, they had me playing a gym nut that had gone fat. So I was like, I used to be Mr. Prisoner UK. I like loads of muscles, and what I'd do is I'd have a mop or a broom, and I'd be hanging around outside the showers. I'd be like, oh yeah, come and have a chat with me in the shower, and they'd give them all my secrets and stuff. It's funny, but wow. I'd stand there flexing like with a broom, like whoa. I'd be like, oi, I was just showing you my form then, and you didn't even look at me. Why didn't you look at me? My bulging muscles. You just walked past me. That's disrespectful. Get back here. It's really fun. I love it.
That's awesome.
It's good fun. I miss it because it's obviously closed. We're locked down at the moment.
Yeah.
How's that affecting you, Matt, with the show? Obviously you're still going. Lockdown. You guys aren't in lockdown, but the pandemic. Has that slowed things down for you commercially and being able to sort of go out there and sort of be a journalist and bring things to you, etc.?
No, I mean, the only way it's really, I'm actually an introvert by nature. So to not be able to go out to a bar or anything like that isn't a big deal to me, certainly. But as far as the show, we're just not having in-studio guests, except for the only exceptions being anyone within our household. So obviously Jenny or our friend Christian, who has moved in. And anyone who's already in the building, because there's other media in the building where we are. But so other than that, we're just having guests by phone and by Skype. But it really, the way my show is structured, as you know, we're not really dependent on guests anyway. So it kind of doesn't matter. Although there are certain people I miss having live in studio with us.
Yeah.
Like John Hopwood, it would be better to have him than by Skype and whatnot. But it hasn't had a huge effect, knock on wood. We're okay. And we're in a part of the country that here in New Hampshire, we've done better with COVID than a lot of places have. So, it's still a worry. I have asthma, Jenny's immunocompromised, but so we're very, very careful, which is,
there's only a little over 100 people inside hospitals in our state right now, which is excellent. I think at our closest was about 300 people in the hospitals. So our numbers are looking a lot better than they had been.
Yeah.
Explain to me, is like, because obviously you and Vermont are sort of 69ing, kind of very similar.
Yeah.
Do the states sort of change as you go over the border? Are there very similar states? They kind of, you can't tell the difference between Vermont and New Hampshire.
No, it changes.
You're muted.
I think. You don't think so, Tom?
He's muted. I'll just unmute him now.
Oh.
You're muted.
This thing is not on.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
You can see the little line through it.
It says your mic isn't connected.
No, no, it's
there you go.
There he goes.
There we go.
I unplugged my mic so I could replug it in. It said you're in. I was like, cool. I didn't realize that it was not muted because
That's not it.
First of all, it changes dramatically because you can go from 65 to 70 on the interstate, and that's like the greatest thing ever because 70 is like the speed. But like I live in the NEK, and right across the state line is the White Mountains, which I love. I love your guys' White Mountains so much. A little interesting story about that. We went there to go to Conway to bring our kids to go see Thomas the Train.
Oh.
And one of my wife's coworkers was like, oh, there's lots of black bear there. I was like, yeah, so there's lots of black bear here, whatever. I never saw one in my state, but we were driving through the White Mountains. We were coming on our way back, and we didn't see a black bear. Well, no, we did. Everybody was pulled off on the side of the road up near the Mount Washington Hotel, and they're all like looking in the field. I'm like, what the fuck's everyone staring at? And there's like a little black dot kind of like loping in the background. I'm like, oh, black bear. They're right. They have a couple black bear here. And we're just kind of going, and we see a sign for fireworks. That's the other great thing about New Hampshire. Fireworks.
Yeah.
And you can get fireworks here, but you have to have a permit or you have to sign a paper that says you have a permit. We're very weird about that whole thing. Like you can. No, go ahead.
There's a comedian, McKinney, who talks about that. He's like, I'm over here on the main side of the border, and New Hampshire's over there. New Hampshire's got all its fireworks, going off. I'm over here on the main border with my sparkler.
Every state has their own weird laws about fireworks, like
so
whether you can have them or you can have them, but you can't set them off, or it's bizarre.
New Hampshire's just like, if it can blow up, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because they promote lying, like because we have pop-ups all the time for fireworks in Vermont, and like they're legitimate fireworks. They're not like snakes and smoke bombs and stuff. They are legitimate mortars and things that go boom, all the things you want.
M80.
And all they ask is that you sign a piece of paper saying that you have a license to shoot off fireworks. They don't check. It's not like they're like, okay, can you please pull up your permit and all this stuff? No, they just let you do it. And if you get caught, it's your own fucking fault, apparently.
It's all the New Hampshire firework places aren't supposed to sell to you to go over the border. Yeah, that works.
Like, back to what I was saying about the black bear. We were driving through this little loop. We were turning around to go get fireworks, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the road, there's a fucking black bear standing there. I'm like, whoa!
Wow,
black bear!
No kidding.
Yeah. So there's a huge difference geographically speaking and culturally speaking between Vermont and New Hampshire. New Hampshire is very famously, freedom or death. I don't know what's the live free or die, and they really kind of like live their motto.
A little too much,
very free, a little too much sometimes. I don't.
No income tax. I like it.
No, you don't. You have
tax,
no income tax. You don't have to wear a helmet when you're driving a motorcycle. There's a whole bunch of things.
You can make yourself an organ donor all you want to.
They're kind of like, hey man, live your life the way you want to, but just you got to be able to reap the rewards and the fallout that comes from such things.
Yeah, it's anti-masker hell, and I mean it's gotten a lot better, but that's what I meant by, a little too much. I think Tom, I think we even talked about that before when I was on, when it was just you and I. It's a lot of anti-maskers here, people who believe that it's somehow unpatriotic to wear a face mask. It's pretty fucked up.
You're messing with God's perfect breathing system.
Did you guys happen to get my little town made the news this week because there's a UPS location like right in the middle of my town, and they famously put up a sign that said, hey, we don't wear masks in here. If you want to wear a mask, feel free, but if you're not comfortable with us not wearing them, then don't come in. And it's like you're a chain. Like UPS is the United Postal System.
That's not okay.
It's not okay. And I always wondered because I've been in there a few times.
Stops when it invades somebody else's liberty. And that's the thing about this mask issue. It's not about your freedom. It's about my freedom to live and you to not have the ability to take my life. because your choice stops there. You have to wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, stay home. Or, order in, have things delivered. There are so many freaking ways that you can do stuff now. There's literally zero excuse for needing to go into anywhere without a mask. And as a former medical provider, and why we're on this subject, bull, hockey, whatever, on anybody that tries to tell you there's a medical reason they can't wear a mask.
Well,
I have home oxygen. I can wear 5 of the masks and I'll still breathe just fine.
It's a selfish endeavor, right? It's
right?
Because they don't want to be sheep or whatever it might be. They're like, no, I'm not going to do that because they tell me to. Well, it's like, okay, but there's a difference between doing something because someone tells you to and doing what's good for the benefit of everyone. Right. Now we have an understanding of how everything's passed along. The scientists have been doing the experiments, and yes, if you look at the news right now, it's actually looking good. In COVID wise, the cases are dropping. It's a lot better, but that's because a lot of good people put in the work and the effort to make things safer. It's not because a bunch of assholes were out there going, oh, we're not going to do this. If you look in cases like Florida, where COVID's rampant in the country,
wonder why nobody's wearing a mask.
No, they're not.
Umpteen videos, pictures, grocery stores, you name it. This one poor soul wearing a mask, and everybody else is like, "To heck with you." So you can't yell fire in a movie theater because you could cause people to get trampled and die. You can't spew your germs all over the place because you could cause other people to die. Same thing. It's just it doesn't take much to think it out. Well. At least it didn't take much to think it out until we had Trump come along and screw everybody's thought. How are things where you guys are? Like, do you guys see a lot of mask compliance where you are, or are you seeing a lot of the anti-masker stuff?
There was a story. Oh, you're talking to Tom or me?
Both of you.
You first.
There was a death recently. It's caused a lot of it's a local guy, Shrewsbury guy, that was suckered, it was pulled into the whole COVID denier sort of belief sort of stuff, and apparently, I mean, I've heard stories that he wasn't that he is that way. So I am not saying anything or other, but he died from COVID because he was part of that apparently. And there has been people that have been defending him, saying he wasn't that way, and the people have been like, "Well, it serves himself right," which is a terrible thing to say. But at the same time, they're like, "Well, why are the press using that as propaganda? Using the guy's death as propaganda?" There's lots of stuff going on at the moment with COVID deniers. I feel like we're in a world at the moment where people are willing to believe anything that just goes against the system, whether it's flat earthers, whether it's anti-vaxxers or anti-maskers. If it goes, fuck the man, let's go our own way because we don't want to believe in your system. I think that is the problem. Not necessarily the pandemic or the masks or the flat earth. It's fuck the man. That is the problem.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, there's generally a lot of cases of conspiracy and lies that are being told, but the thing is, there's a difference between that and just doing what's socially the right thing. There's something between that and doing the right thing. In Vermont, luckily, we don't have a lot of pushback. Like, this is like one of the first serious cases, the UPS store being the example of like them being like, no, we're not going to do this. But other than that, Vermont's, just like New Hampshire's, we're very, close knit, and we're a smaller place. We kind of take care of our own here, and everyone's very respectful of the fact, because I mean, like, I don't like wearing a mask. I really don't. I don't like wearing it. But the fact is, I got kids, I got a wife, and I'm not really going to put myself at risk just because it makes me a tiny bit uncomfortable. And the fact is, like, weird things happen, right? I wear my mask more and more now, and like now I wear it when I walk the dog, not because I'm worried about catching something. I live in the middle of nowhere. Like, if you saw where I live, guys, I live in the middle of the fucking boonies. Yeah. But like, it keeps the cold off my face. So people like walk, people drive by and they're like, "Look at that asshole! He's just walking his dog in the middle of the road. There's not a person for miles except me driving by making fun of him." I'm like, my face is warm. Super warm right now. I love this. Yeah. So there's the right thing to do for the right reasons, and then there's the wrong things to do for the reasons that are your own. And I want to support everyone's belief system, but at the same point in time, it's like, don't we all just want to get out of this now? Like, don't we want this to stop?
Right. If everyone would work together, we could get through it a lot quicker. There's this guy, actually, I met him through Jen and interviewed him on the show a long time ago, Dave Nally, who's a libertarian. And, a lot of libertarians, of course, are anti-mask because they're like, oh, I'm not going to let the government tell me I have to do that. but there's some that are really good and who get it and who believe in the science. And Dave Nally posted something that I've shared out because I loved it so much. And it was directed at his fellow libertarians. He said, if you think wearing a face mask is an infringement on your liberty, then we need to have a discussion about the relationship between liberty and responsibility. And just totally nailed it. And I love that he said that.
I have a question for you and Jenny both, actually, because there was people were commenting, right? There was like the news post of the guy of the UPS store that was not going with the grain of, hey, wear a mask and stuff. But a lot of people said some things, and it actually like there was a word that kept being thrown around. I want to get your guys' opinion on it. A lot of people called him a patriot. And I see both sides of that argument when it comes to, you know, the fact of not going with what the government says. So what is your thoughts on the word patriot when it refers to something like this, of a person that refuses to go with the flow?
Well, I call bullshit. There's nothing patriotic about that. It's selfish. It's narcissistic. And, but that's kind of how these people are anyway. A lot of them who are in that mindset, it's like, it's, you know, like there's been, I'm thinking of like Chris Christie, just as a random example, a Republican who, you know, engaged in high risk behavior, and then he actually got COVID. And then all of a sudden, you know, once it affects him, he suddenly cares about it very much and is and takes it very seriously and wants to get others to as well. But that's kind of that ideological mindset, you know, because conservatives think that they're the most patriotic and they have the market cornered on that. So it becomes this whole weird thing. I guess it's, to them, it's patriotic to not care about others. It's patriotic to not believe in science or anything else that's inconvenient. It's patriotic to put your faith in an invisible man in the sky instead of what an epidemiologist tells you. All this stuff kind of gets mashed together in their minds, and it just becomes an excuse. It becomes an excuse to not do something that they find inconvenient. And the sick thing about it is they think they're strong. They look at people who take science seriously and who are worried about COVID and whatnot. They look at us as weak. Oh, look at those pussies. They wear face masks. They're all worried. In reality, they're the ones who are weak because they're so weak-minded that because some Republican politician, like, you know, our former president, is dismissive about wearing masks, they say, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to wear a mask because daddy tells me I don't have to. They're the ones who are weak. And it's yes, not daddy. Us, you know. So,
Jenny, what are your thoughts?
Oh boy, this one's a loaded one for me because I can come at it from a few different angles. But one of the harsher ones I would say is that I will go so far as to say not only is it not patriotic to not wear a mask, it's unconstitutional. The one thing that the United States Constitution above all else says the United States government and people are supposed to do is protect our borders, protect our people. And we're failing miserably in that very endeavor against this enemy. And it's very, Trump was on the right track when he said he'd be a wartime president during COVID, but he fell off that wagon so quickly, he gave up on it. And Biden, thankfully, has picked back up on that. This is a war. This is a war to save as many lives as humanly possible. So not only is not wearing a mask unpatriotic, it's unconstitutional. Patriotism itself is a buzzword that the conservatives use. And it's a very dangerous tool because I will look at you and say, you're not a true patriot unless you agree with me. And that is not only entwined into that, it's also entwined into religion. And for me, at one point in my life, that became a cult. And it absolutely is a cultist belief because it's based in the religion and phony patriotism. And it's such a selfish attitude that I can look at it differently now. The most important thing I can do as an American, the most patriotic thing I have ever done in my life is work to save other American lives. I can say that after 20 years as an EMT. And now I'm retired. But that doesn't change. I still have a responsibility to saving American lives. And I do that by washing my damn hands, keeping my distance, wearing a stupid mask, and I don't whine about it. Just do what needs to be done. My grandparents were building victory gardens in their front lawns so everybody in the neighborhood could eat. And you people are pitching a fit over a piece of cloth? Give me a effing break already.
Yeah, we have gotten soft. I mean, I've said this on the show. It's hard to believe sometimes that this is the same country that fought 2 world wars, where people pull together for a common cause. And what are we in 21? You got all these, and again, they think they're the tough ones, but they're not. You got all these whiny bitches going, I don't want to wear a face mask for 20 minutes while I go into the grocery store, and I shouldn't have to, and it's not fair, and it's uncomfortable, and I don't want to wear it. And that's America in 2021. We're a little soft. We've gotten a little soft these days.
Yeah, and I gotta add to this anger, and that is I call bull on anybody who claims to be a so-called patriot or so-called great American, and you're standing up for the troops and you stand up for first responders. Bull. If you give a crap about any first responders, you'd play by the rules, wear your stupid mask, wash your stupid hands, and keep your distance. Yep. That shows me that you care about our first responders, those that are working in the hospitals and the ICUs. You don't get a rat's ass about any of them if you're not willing to stop them from having patient overload. There are people in the medical profession right now all around this world that have committed suicide because of this, that can't sleep at night because the horror that they've seen and dealt with for over a year now is killing them. As human beings, we're not wired for this. We didn't sign up to be soldiers. We signed up to take care of people. This is not what we're wired for. We're not wired to go to work and have to body bag 6 people. We're wired to have 1 a week or a couple a week. Oh, it's been a bad week. We had 3 or 4 deaths in the ICU. Not, oh, I'm in the ICU and I bagged 6 bodies and now they're bringing in a truck because the morgue is full. That's reality for so many people. So if you're really a patriot, if you really give a rat's ass about our troops and first responders, then do everything that you can to not be somebody added onto their workload.
Jenny, I could listen to you talk all day. I love that accent so much, honestly.
I'll take that as a compliment because I'll tell you, growing up, it was big mouth and motor mouth. Those were the terms I heard. So
I got that a lot, and now I'm speaking down a microphone and winning awards for such things.
Yeah.
Just got to throw that one in there very quickly. You Americans, though, you do make me laugh. When Copernic went down on one knee, that very famous. It was all, he doesn't support the troops. He's so un-American. Oh, this guy, he wants to piss on the flag. And so, wow, it's the first thing that Americans cannot. All Americans, of course. I'm sorry, I'm not. That's bad to say, but
I bought into that.
Straight away, the whole.
Really?
Yes. Back when it first started, I was still very much a conservative. To me, it was spitting in my 30-year Marine grandfather's face to not show proper honor to our flag, to our nation. To me, that was slapping him in the face for all his years of service. So I didn't see it for what it really is. I didn't understand and I didn't grasp the importance and how amazing and strong it was to simply take a quiet knee and say, I want this to be my country, but it's not. Not my country. I love you so much.
That's amazing. This is what I'm on about. This is why your show is amazing, because you will take that strong view that you had and go, I'm going to listen to the facts. Okay. Oh, maybe there's a point to this. Maybe I wasn't. Yeah. I love that.
See, it's interesting because I was on the complete opposite spectrum of that. With my grandfather was a master sergeant in the Marines back in Vietnam, and he was a really good dude. In fact, both of my dad and my grandfather were both Marines, and I was the first Tom Bruno out of the Tom Bruno line to not be one because I had pre-existing conditions and shit. But like when I saw that happen, I was like, a peaceful way to stand up for something that you believe in. I'm all about that because I feel like a lot of the outcry and a lot of the over the what's the word I'm looking for? The way that people sometimes put too much effort into trying to show what they believe is just, overboard. Like there's a difference between doing something because you believe in it and doing something because you believe that it's going to give you a good public image, I guess. Like, you know, a lot of people do things because it's going to make them look good, and some people just do things because it's what they actually believe in. So when I saw that happen, I was like, oh, that's cool, man. He's you know, standing up for something that he believes in.
It's also worse than that, though. Sorry. It's the whole I'm doing this for God. I'm standing up to show God. I'm getting brownie points for heaven because I'm calling you out. Because you don't say loud and proud, one nation under God every time it comes up. Like the Law and Order conservative, you like practically shout that line. You shout that line to make sure everybody knows one nation under God. With liberty, you know, that's it. You're the Law and Order party, and that's the hard line.
That's a politician's trick, though, isn't it? That's the one trick pony. And they make a joke of that in the Will Ferrell movie, The Campaign. They're like, well, go on then, say the Lord's Prayer. And he's kind of like, and he's trying to say it by the mimes and stuff. It's so funny. It's a brilliant thing.
Well, we are, to be fair, though, I mean, we are God's favorite. I mean, I'm sorry, Alex. We are God's favorite country. I don't know if you knew that.
We all know that the entire Bible was written about the United States, man.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
it really was.
Sorry, that's what it was. I mean, it's white Jesus, dude. It's white Jesus.
I mean, if anyone's read the Book of Mormon, we all know that Jesus came to America anyways. And Alex, don't worry, buddy. You and me are building brownie points right now by observing Lent and giving up things, because Jesus suffered in the desert and you and me gave up drugs. So good for us.
No, man, you all have that Pope over there. You're done. You're done. Your country, you guys got the Pope, so you're done.
Well, I mean,
and then you got the head of England. Wait a minute, the head of the head of the Christian Church of England is the Queen.
Oh, that's true.
Speaking of the royal family, there's lots of talk going on about obviously Harry and Meghan at the moment. Whenever they are brought up, whether it's like we've got the Shropshire Star over here, which is our newspaper, local newspaper, and whenever they throw up a story on Facebook,
I see that one.
The hate.
I bet.
Oh my God.
They hate them?
They hate Harry and Meghan. Anybody that steps through, there are so many people out there that they're almost like Trump supporters for the Queen. You know, that they're crazy.
Oh, no.
I was like, do you know what? If I'd have learned so much about what the royal family have done, if I found out my uncle was potentially, well, not even potentially, he's pretty much been outed as a paedophile rapist, Prince Andrew, and if my family were then continually racist to my black wife, I would fuck them off too. I'd be like, you know what, I'm done with this shit. Off I go. And people should just be like, okay, crack on. I totally understand, but no, they will be I
think the problem is that is because they're acting very American about it. You know, like usually when it comes to the monarchy, it's either fall in line or get the fuck out.
That damn American that screwed the whole thing up.
And they're really kind of putting the light on Meghan Markle because they're like, hey, she's American. And Prince Harry's like, well, I don't want to do that. And they're like, oh, well, clearly it's her fault because he's not just towing the line like everybody else in the fucking lineage does. And I feel like these are the same people that like go to a chessboard and like knock every piece off except the Queen. They're like, all right, cool. It's the way it should be, you know, fucking right there.
I don't have any strong feelings about the whole thing, except for I've always kind of resented her getting married only because I was a big fan of the show Suits, and she didn't stay till the end of the series, and I think she would have had she not gotten married.
Bitch.
So fuck you, Meghan Markle.
Yeah, so I'm a little bitter. I didn't even watch season 7 and 8.
Maddie. Oh,
yeah,
I started watching Suits. I did start watching Suits. I thought we had a really good concept, but there was an awful lot of cheese in that program. I've got to really be in the mood to sort of go for that. I will give it another go because it is a brilliant concept. That this guy's just that clever. He can bullshit his way through being a lawyer. I think that's really good.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah. Is it easy to, because obviously you kind of sort of sit on the fence, but you always say that I'm not left, I'm not right, I'm kind of just as I am, Matt. Is that easy, or is that quite a difficult thing to do?
It's easy for me. The reason I called the show Matt Connarton Unleashed is I just decided I'm just going to say whatever I think, and I leave it to other people who want to try to pigeonhole me. I mean, I'm an independent. I definitely lean more left than right. I always have. And in these times, the Trump administration certainly gave me a good hard shove leftward. But it's also I kind of think of it as an interesting experiment because, here in, and Tom certainly knows this, in America, conservative talk radio. In fact, Rush Limbaugh just died, who probably, the biggest conservative talk radio host ever. Conservative talk radio is what really dominates political talk in the United States. And so, and there's a few liberal hosts, only a few that I can think of that are kind of successful, like, Arnie Arneson and Stephanie Miller. But to do a political talk show that's, not trying to be pigeonholed. I know a lot of people just think I'm a big liberal, which is fine. I don't mind. I'd rather be mistaken for a liberal.
That's a big softie.
Yeah. I'd rather be mistaken for that than a conservative at this point, but
they pushed my butt right off the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just kind of do what I do. I try not to overthink it. I try not to portray myself as one way or the other. People can label me however they want, but I like it. It's unique in that way. Like I said, most of these shows are conservative, so.
I think I do take a lot from you, Matt. I think I see a lot of myself in you, genuinely, politically, because I am the same. Like I do believe people. I feel like people have it very lenient over here in the UK. If you say you're too poorly to work, then you'll get your PIP and your payment. Whereas I feel like some people could probably try a bit harder. So that is the very much right wing version of my thoughts. At the same time, I don't think everything should be cut. I think people with disabilities, people with kids that can't go out to work, definitely need that help. I feel like people take the piss, absolutely 100%. But at the same time, I don't like some of the right wing views. I really don't like. So I kind of flip flop a little bit. But the whole Trump thing was very difficult to see. Very aggravated. Very good.
The things that you're saying though are not like I know that they're considered right wing ideas, but I think they're also just things that everybody can generally agree with. I mean, there's a lot of people that would say no, everybody needs help and we should give help no matter what. But the fact is, there are a lot of people that take advantage of the system, and there should be ways to kind of weed those type of people out, because the money should be going to people that really do need help. And I know it's hard to kind of draw a line in the sand and be like, well, these are the people that need help and these are the people that don't need help. But there should be a better way to kind of figure it out, because there are so many people out there that do, as you say, take the piss on, just taking advantage of a bad situation and making it better for themselves.
Yeah.
But then we make it so hard for people to come out of it. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it was like your decision. What you said earlier, Jenny, about sort of execution. Who makes that decision? Who makes them decisions? Where who's fit, who's not? Because it's easy to pull the wool over people's eyes. It's one of them. It's just a difficult situation.
And it's just as easy to send somebody into a suicidal ideation because you treat them like a criminal. And I think we have to start with not treating people like they're a criminal up front, or that they're trying to game the system up front. The whole idea of we want to drug test anybody who's on public assistance because we want to make sure they're not using the money for drugs. How horribly humiliating did you just make that for the 45-year-old stroke survivor who now you're going to have somebody go in there while they pee in a cup? Or how about the person that's in a wheelchair and has to straight cath to get that urine? Who's going to watch that take place? It's really easy to say we want to set X for a standard, but if you don't consider the unintended consequences, you could literally be responsible for ending lives. It's that serious.
Yeah.
It's not an easy line to walk. We have to be careful with how we structure things. This country is too punitive. We treat people like they're criminals and drug addicts before we treat them like they're human beings with a problem. Well, it's not a problem unless it's you.
And we've effectively criminalized poverty in this country too. I mean, we really have. Right. Yeah.
And if you get that job to make money, you got the job to make money, but you just lost the medical benefits. That we're paying for your medical care, but because your new job doesn't offer you a medical benefit because it's part-time and you can't afford to buy it off of the public system because that's $800 a month. So now you go, how do I work this job and lose the medical? I'm a diabetic. Like, how does that work? These are the unintended consequences that happen by the millions, just by the stroke of a pen, some politician arbitrarily changing a law and not considering the very worst thing that can happen. That's how I looked at it. When I was in state legislature, I would look at a bill and I would ask myself, what does this hope to do? What's the worst thing that could happen if this was law? And what's the best thing? And sometimes that helped me make the right decisions. Granted, I'm a different person now, and some of my decisions are different than they would have been. But back then, it was important to kind of see what happens if we pass this? Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen to Maymay that lives next door? Try and put it in that mindset. What happens to Maymay living next door? What happens to Auntie Joni living down the street if you put this law in the books? Are they going to have to go pee in a cup in front of somebody in order to get food stamps?
Exactly. And do you feel like it's hard, both being British or American, to sort of state your political views because of our fear of being judged?
I don't worry about it. I'm actually, to be honest with you, I'm surprised doing my show that I don't get more hate than I do. But I've had people tell me, and there are Trumpers who listen to my show who have told me that even though I dump on their hero and savior, that they just enjoy listening to me anyway, which I take as an enormous compliment. I mean, if you can disagree with everything that I say, but still like me or like my show or get something out of it, I think that's pretty cool. But I don't worry about the haters either. I have this mantra that I went into all of this with. I always say, I'd rather be loved than hated, but I'd rather be hated than ignored. The worst thing would be, I mean, I don't care if everybody who listens to my show hate listens, and that certainly is a thing. I'd rather have, thousands of people hate listening than people just not listening at all because they're indifferent to what I do. So I take it all. I take the love. I take the hate. I'd prefer the love, but I'll take the hate. I think
some of it is because you are open, and we do have times on the show when you call it as you see it. Yeah, Trump got this one right. So we openly say that it's not all hate all the time, which is what normally happens on your flavor of news show. Most people won't go down that middle, or won't take the let me play devil's advocate side, or look at it from the other perspective and say, well, gee, maybe they were thinking about it in this light, and boy, that makes more sense. So I think that makes the show more interesting, and I think that's why you get the hate listeners, is because it's almost like they want to hear what you're going to say about them that's good. They want to hear that too. Yeah. What struck you? What got you that was good? What did you think was good? And I think people like that.
I didn't have a lot of opportunities over the past 4 years to find things to say nice about Trump, but I tried.
That's a running joke right now. He has to work now.
Oh, Trump? Yeah, he might have to. He might have to get a job.
You have to work now. You've had 4 years of skating, and now you have to freaking do show prep.
I have to do actual show prep again. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't just sit there and shit on Trump for an hour, 2 hours, should I say.
It's not even doing that. It's just reacting to whatever stupid thing he said or did that day. It's the gift that never stopped giving.
Which would end up being shitting on him for 2 hours, yeah.
I've got to say, I have this list of things I would love to do if I came over to the States. And obviously, you being so close to Tom, just the next state down, which I imagine just be a 2 or 3 hour drive. I don't know how far it is, but I guess it is about that.
Like an hour.
Barely.
I've
always wanted to come on your show just to sit and be in that same room as you guys, staff. But
that would be awesome.
I sit there watching the show and I'm thinking, I could sit on that couch one day. Just one day, maybe.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be
that
great.
Would be totally awesome.
Then
we can all go over to the Hawk Knot and get a pint and a pretzel.
Oh, yeah. I'd love that. Those big pretzels, those, not the little crispy ones. They're horrible.
No, they make the big, giant. Oh, they do from scratch. Oh, they're from scratch. Nice. They're insane.
That'd be great. And then go for beer afterwards. That'd be amazing.
Absolutely.
You guys have been amazing. We could do this again and again and again and again. I love talking to you guys, and I'd love to make more of an effort coming onto your show via Skype and stuff as well. Because I feel like there are times that I listen and I'm thinking, I could just call in now, but I didn't want to mess the vibe of the show. But hi, it's the British guy. Let's talk about Boris.
No, man, I seriously no. I would love to hear about firsthand what's going on over there. We follow it. We do. And it is cool to get to talk to somebody like you that's at the ground level like we are in our society and say what's really going on. It's not the BBC selling you or the CNN selling you. It's the average people, I think, that we get to represent in that world. Yeah, I want to hear your grit. I want to hear what's on your level because that's matching my level. Like, what's going on over there? You're Boris to my, whatever, Harris. I don't know.
Absolutely. I could be a UK correspondent. I'll call in maybe sometime next week or something. That'd be quite cool. Yeah.
No, that'd be great. No, you guys are both welcome anytime. Absolutely.
Oh, Tom. Yeah. Me and you could just turn up and just ruin it. Just be like, yo!
Tom, when we all get vaccinated, you should come down and come on out and say hi and go on the show and we'll go have a pint.
I love that. I definitely want to. I'm making plans for once things get a time. I mean, things are looking good, which is excellent. But I'm not one to just take chances right off the bat. That's why I live in the middle of nowhere. But once things start calm down, I'm making a plan to kind of do like the great podcasting road trip because one of the fortunate things about the show is we've made friends with so many people across the states and across the ocean. Donnie and fucking what's his name? Jason Alme. What's his name up in Nova Scotia? Fucking the Tatnus podcast. Keith McCleary. Yep. I made all these friends and I just really want to kind of like, because I love traveling. It's one of my favorite things to do in the world. You know, I'm a New Yorker, born and raised until I was about 7. Then I became a Vermonter. But we did a lot of traveling with my family. It was always road trips. So I really want to get back on the road and go visit all these amazing people I've made all these relationships with. And you guys are definitely on the stop list.
That would be awesome. That would be totally awesome.
Definitely. We were supposed to come to America last year. We were going to go to my wife has got family in Miami, so we were going to go to Florida. And Eric Fluger, who's a friend of ours, a world famous artist, is coming on our show soon. I was going to go stop at his. Tom was going to come and meet me sort of halfway or something or whatever, and it got fucking shit canned because of COVID. So there are plans.
That's what happened to my sailing in the Netherlands to Into the Grave. I don't know if Americans are ever going to be allowed to get out of America again.
You should clarify. Enter the Grave is a band you were going to go see. No,
Into the Grave is.
You made it. Well, just the way you said that, you made it sound like you had plans to get on a sailboat and sail to your death.
Well, we did sail from Snake to. No, it's this awesome music festival in the Netherlands. It's called Into the Grave. And it's like 3 days of just metal and beer and sailing, and I freaking love it. And I'm stuck in America because of the plague. So
well,
there shall be none for me.
I hope you guys stay safe, and I hope COVID doesn't affect you any more than what it is. Obviously, it's a terrible situation. And thank you so much for coming on our show. I would love to do this again sometime. We'll do this like every couple of months. We'll just get you guys on and we'll catch up what's going on politically, because I would rather speak to you guys about politics than anyone else, because I don't like talking about politics, but I know I can with you guys. Sounds daft, but there's a threshold I won't cross. Yeah.
No, we love it. Anytime. Absolutely. Count us in.
I consider myself very lucky to be able to say as I please.
Before we go, because we're going to let you guys go in a second, where can find your show, Matt, if they haven't heard it already yet?
Easiest thing, if you go to my website, mattconnarton.com, and that's got all the links, and there's various places you can stream it online. We just got picked up by another network. But yeah, just go to my website. That's the easiest thing, mattconnarton.com. Just click listen live and it'll get you right in.
Amazing. Jenny, it's great to get you on the show. I'm glad we finally got to do this because I missed the last one. What we tend to do now is it's been amazing. Honestly, I've really enjoyed it. But what we tend to do is let our guests go now, and then for the next sort of half an hour or so, we're going to geek out about Star Wars and shit like that in the later lounge. But thank you very much for joining us, guys. Matt and Jenny from Connarton Unleashed. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. It's been awesome. All right, thank you. Take care. All right, bye-bye.
See you later. Okay, let's do this. I did have this planned. 3, 2, 1, and... Look at that.
That's amazing. That's so good, dude. You're adding so much fucking production value to this show, man. I really, really dig this. I feel like I'm on a real show.
This background doesn't work, but we can work on that for next
I like
time.
it. What's wrong with the neon? I think it's kind of like 80s chic.
Okay, we'll keep it. I like it.
Yeah. Like very Vice City or Vice. What was that
Vice
fucking?
City?
Yeah, was it Vice
GTA.
City?
GTA,
Yeah. Was it Vice City? Why do I feel like that's not right?
I think it is right.
Probably. I mean, I'm just tired, man. Fucking late night. Work was a fucking nightmare last night. Really? There was a lot of stuff wrong with stuff going on with, I can't really get into too much of it, but there was just a lot of problems last night. And my new job with the company dictates that I need to be like very involved in all those type of aspects of the plant. And it was just a big old fat nightmare last night. But it's all good though, because we just had a really cool conversation.
Yeah. I love those guys. I genuinely really like them. So I'd love to get them on again. And this is one of those things. I feel like it's a bit like that conversation in Rick and Morty about mental health and things like that. When it comes to politics, you can sit there and say, "Oh, I'm not political. But then you'll sit there and complain about waiting times at the doctors. That's politics. Politics weeds its way into every single aspect of our lives, and it's healthy to sit down and have a healthy discussion about it sometimes. And if I had a complete left winger and a complete right winger on the show, we could easily end up in conflict, and that's why I like having them on the show. I love what they do. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah. So thank you very much to Matt and Jenny. Yeah.
Yes. How you been, brother?
Good, man. Actually, really, really good. I fucked up a little bit earlier because we did the first of our live virtual market showcases that we're doing on the Shrewsbury Biscuit. The idea is to get local traders on from around Shrewsbury, talk about them, bring up pictures, talk about their business, and help out. Because businesses out there struggling. But what happened was, Ed Curry sent his package today with the hot sauces, which one of them holding here is the Apollo one, which you tried.
I did. I was actually gonna yell at you really quick. I was like, "You're not supposed to fucking open them, Alex." And
I know.
then I was like,
I said that on the live.
I tried. I tried the Apollo, so it's fair. It's fair.
It'll keep. I'm pretty sure it'll keep.
In the fridge. Put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I opened it on the live feed, and I tried some on a Ritz cracker. And crackers are not the correct thing to chew these things on with, by the way, because it gets all dry and sticks to the back of your throat. And it was fucking horrible. It was tasty, but it was hard, man. It burned like fuck. But that's what we signed up for, all right?
It is. Now that you've actually tried like one of the best worst sauce, and the best obviously flavor wise, the worst just for the burn. How are you feeling about the final wing challenge? Of course, there's still one more coming up. We're still in the midst of trying to get it all back together. Obviously, there's a lockdown in place, so we couldn't do it the date we wanted to. So the next one is still happening with the sauces that were picked. But now we have a final one in mind, which we seem to be promoting more than the next one because we got this amazing relationship with Ed Curry that we got to do, and he sent us these fucking spicy ass sauces, and it's going to be a real challenge. So how do you feel about the final one?
I feel like I can do it. Because the difference between me eating loads of raw sauce cracker to eating chicken wings that are basted is it's basted evenly. Not a big. I did like a teaspoonful on a cracker, so it was like that's probably stupid to do. Concentrated in your mouth straight away, bam.
Yeah.
I'm not a pussy. Things like that. The only thing is, it gave me hiccups, and because I've only ever had that's like the third time I've ever had hiccups in my life because I don't get hiccups. No. It's a weird sensation for me, so I felt like I was going to be sick, but I wasn't. I was just hiccuping, and my body's just not used to it. Genuinely, that's just how my body is.
How? Really? You've only hiccuped like 3 times? Like, I get the hiccups all the time. Like, not like every day by any means, but like,
I don't remember ever having hiccups. I had them once. Wow. I was on my home alone. Kaz was at work. I was panicking. I was like, I got the hiccups and I can't get them to stop. And she was like, well, that's just how they are. I was
like, how fucking dying, Kaz? What's going on? It feels like my oxygen's trying to escape my body.
The second time was when I ate a really hot chili at Hickory with TS when he came over to see me. And then the third time today. And it only lasted for about 2 seconds, but that's because it's so fucking hot. My body was like, oh my God, what's going on? What the fuck is this? Oh my God, it's panic. It was just...
You're not the first person I've heard that gets hiccups from hot sauce. If anyone's ever watched Good Mythical Morning, it's one of my favorite YouTube things. I don't watch a ton of things on YouTube, but the things I do watch, I really, really love. And these two guys, Rhett and Link, they do hot sauces like this all, a good portion of the time, and they get the hiccups really bad as soon as it happens. So I wonder what about ingesting hot sauces causes that, because hiccups are really like mysterious as they are. Like nobody understands exactly what causes them.
Well, Ed was telling us during the interview that we did with him that there's a lot that's going on neurologically when you do hot sauce, which is why his product is really important to the medical field. Because if you've got a neurological disease that stops you from reacting to things like pain, like movement, like hiccups, things like that, and that can actually help reset the receptors, I guess. I'm just kind of spouting shit, but it kind of makes sense to me that the reason why it was is because my brain was like, no, I don't like this. It's kind of like fucking panic. But that being said, thank you, Ed, for sending them across the ocean. That was just amazing of you. I couldn't believe they came. I kind of put it to the back of my mind because I ordered a pendant for my daughter, which is like a turtle pendant, and you can track a turtle from across the ocean. It's really cool.
Oh, you got one of those? I saw the ad for that. And I think those things are kind of cool. I like when you buy jewelry that helps with saving animals. I think that's a really cool thing to do. They have like those. They have the ones for the elephants. They also have like that piece of, it has nothing to do with animals, but they have like, you can buy a section of land in Scotland, I believe. Like you pay money and you get like this 1x8 fucking piece of land that's yours per se.
Yeah, like sponsor a tiger.
Yeah. Sponsor a tiger, which I guess if you can just go to Texas and sponsor a fucking tiger. There's like a bunch there.
Millions of them, yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you, Ed, for that. I'm glad it got here. What have you been up to this week? Have you been watching anything? Are you keeping up to date with WandaVision?
I've been saving the 2 episodes because they come out on Fridays, and me and the wife did me and the wife what? No, see, that's the funny thing is like we didn't watch it together. I watched the first 4 episodes by myself, and she wants to watch WandaVision.
Watch it.
So I'm gonna have to watch the whole thing over again, but that's okay because it's really, really good TV. No, I didn't really. I've been watching a lot of Dirty Jobs. During my work week, I don't tend to watch. Shit. Yeah, I'm not good at watching things on my work week. I have been watching some Futurama. For obvious reasons. Yeah. I've been watching some Futurama and doing that whole thing. I've been writing lots of emails, man. I've been trying to keep myself busy. I'm trying to keep the guests rolling on in and people that we think people want to hear. That's what I've been doing. What have you been doing?
I watched Willy's Wonderland last night.
Yeah, how was that? That looks fucking amazing. What
you've got to do is you've just got to clear part of your mind out that makes sense of anything. Because it's fucking stupid. It's stupid, but it's badly acted. But it's fun. It's a holiday for your brain. You watch it and you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna watch this and just enjoy it. None of it makes sense, but fuck it, I'm gonna enjoy this, and it is fucking ace. It's great.
In the same way that Velocipaster was like that.
Yeah, very much so. Like you're like,
okay.
I'm not looking for an Academy Award winning thing. I'm not looking for something that's absolutely consistent with the laws of nature or even makes sense socially. I'm just going to watch this shit because it is essentially an hour and a half, whatever it is, of Nicolas Cage genuinely cleaning shit. Like like a dusty like pinball machine, he wipes like a clean line through it, and you're just like, "Oh, that's good," And he's just beating the shit out of animatronics. He's just literally imagine him like beating up one of your kids' soft toys, but instead of it just like not doing anything, like oil just spills all over your face like blood and stuff. It's fucking brilliant. And the best thing about it, sorry, go on.
No, I can't wait to watch it. What platform is it available on right now?
I don't know.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
But no, look. What I was going to say was, I can't remember. Oh yeah, Nicolas Cage. What I love about this is he isn't taking himself seriously at all. He doesn't even have a name in it. He's just the janitor. He doesn't speak throughout the whole thing. He just stares at people. It's just weirdly brilliant. So go and watch it, man. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on it.
I'm going to. And by the way, I just want to I think you made it. Did you make the Vincent Vega Mars robot? Yeah,
Yes.
you made that is probably my favorite thing. And no offense to anyone else, because the listeners make some great things. I love them all. But I'm a huge fan of Pulp Fiction, and when I saw that, it made me laugh so hard. I just really woke up. I was like, "Oh my god, I love it!" Pennsylvania knows my name.
Oh, what Tom's talking about is obviously NASA's Perseverance has landed on Mars. Congratulations, NASA. We're getting some great new images of Mars. Whenever I see shit like that, like the Mars skyline, I'm kind of like, this is a fucking great time to be alive. Like, just that's Mars right there, you know? But what somebody's done is the fisheye black and white lens shot of Mars that Perseverance took when it first landed. Somebody, I think it was Graham Arnold or possibly, that shared the Bernie picture of everything in the background. And I thought, ooh, I got a great idea. And then there's Ewoks. I shared the Bernie one. Graham shared the Ewoks one. I was like, ooh. There's a Where's Tom Bruno in here somewhere. So obviously that famous Vincent Vega sort of John Travolta.
Where was? Yeah, I fucking loved it so much, man. I instantly, like, you can't see my background on my computer, but it is the background of my computer now.
Yeah.
I loved it that much. I was like, that's just makes me so happy, and it's cool because it does a couple things. One, it speaks to the movie lover in me. I love Pulp Fiction with all my heart. It speaks to the guy that likes to be current, right? Like, I love current events, and I love the fact that Perseverance landed and that we have this shot of Mars. I love that, and I also love that it adds like a timestamp of what was going on at the time when it was made. So there's so many different facets of what you did that made me just tickled pink when I fucking saw it. Yeah, dude, fucking. So I'm gonna rewatch WandaVision. Have you been seeing did you end up watching the trailer for fucking for Cruella yet?
Oh shit, man! I completely forgot. Genuinely forgot, man. I've been doing so
It's all
much,
good.
but I will. I'll watch it for the Wednesday Night Live this week, and we'll discuss then. Yeah, I think things are going really well with USUK at the moment. I feel like there's just a really nice chemistry between us all. You know, we've got things waiting in the wings as well, waiting to happen. With the amazing Eric Fluger, we are putting a show together soon. You'll hear more on that. But like, as far as like how we are, I mean, I think I covered it quite well on the Wednesday night show when we were talking about TS beating me in the gauntlet. I thought that was fucking hilarious. I thought it was great because we're all just so supportive of each other. I mean, like, I am slacking a bit at the moment, but people are understanding in the group because I haven't put any YouTube videos up for 2 weeks, and we did one with Jonathan Joss. I'm like, I'm sorry guys, I haven't been able to do it, but I've been so busy. Yet the guys weren't like, Whiteley, where's the YouTube video? I got straight away, send it to Jamie, he'll sort it out, because that's how we support each other, you know.
Fuck yeah. So. And don't send it to Tom Bruno because he'd be like, I'll totally do it. And then next week he'd be like, oh, I didn't see that video uploaded. He'd be like, oh, yeah. Things happen. Yeah. So that's what my week's been like, and that's what your week's been like. What's coming up on our fucking what's coming up that we're excited about? Do you have anything you want to talk about other than that?
I mean, there's obviously, are you on about the show or things like TV, movies and stuff?
TVs, movies, anything. Who gives a shit? Fucking
did you see the trailer for the Snyder cut of the Justice League?
No, but I've seen a lot of reactions from people, and everyone that was like a denouncer of Justice League are really excited about this. You want to explain to me why?
18th of March, I think it's being released in the UK. I don't know how or when. I think what it'll do is go on Amazon Prime where you'll have to pay for it. The best. I don't know how to feel about it because you know my thoughts on Justice League, right? It fucked in my head a lot because it was a bad movie, but I really didn't want it to be bad, so I kind of just blotted all the bad shit out of my mind. I don't want to get too excited for it because the last Wonder Woman took loads of reshoots and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're just changing a few things," and it turned out to be dog shit anyway. It was awful. Like, so I don't want to get too excited for this Justice League movie, and that's not me. I'm not a Marvel versus DC or DC versus Marvel guy. I'm an everything guy. I'm not gonna fucking sit there and be like, I like Marvel over DC when you got both. Like, DC make the best animated movies out of anything. Like, they're just amazing. You know, and I just want it to be good for the sake of you know, the Flash movie that's coming up and the things that we were promised. You know. Yeah.
Live your promises, DC. Give us our movies.
Yeah.
HBO Max, by the way, or HBO Max, right? Is that what they are? On demand?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We don't get that over here.
They're kind of like at first there's a lot of like deniers and a lot of people being like, oh, this is not going to work. There's so many streaming services, but they're fucking killing it right now with getting people to just stay excited. And I think it has a lot to do with them kind of accepting the current climate that we're in and releasing good movies or movies that should be out in theaters on their platform. I think they're going to, be a real contender, especially with some of the lineups like King Kong, fucking versus Godzilla, the new Tom and Jerry movie, which actually looks pretty okay. Is going to be released on there. They have a whole list of movies like, hey, you can either go to the movie theater or you can subscribe for a much cheaper amount of money and see these movies anyway with your entire family.
And I do miss the cinema very much, but we've had a very special sort of week this week because Timmy's been off school for half term, so he's been off this week. Excuse me. He's been watching me play a lot of Star Wars Battlefront 2. And he's been really enjoying it, like learning about the characters. He came to me and he asked if I could watch Star Wars Episode 1. I was like, yes! So yesterday we sat and we watched it and he followed it all the way through. But I tried to watch it with him when he was a bit younger and for about half an hour, he was like, yeah. Then he just drifted off like kids do. We watched Episode 2 today, which I thought was going to be the hard one for him. I thought, oh yeah, he's not going to, because it's very political. There was some action scenes, but lots of talking. And he followed it all the way through. And towards the end, he goes, I want the clones and the Jedis to win. And I was like, oh shit, followed it. He followed the political side of things. He knew that the clones weren't bad this time. They were with the Jedis and good.
It's funny because I had a similar experience, not with Star Wars, but with Marvel movies with my middle, Thomas. He's never watched the movies. He was always like, he likes the cartoons and he likes the YouTube videos that mention these characters, but he's never once actually seen, where the original stuff came from. So he's like, can we watch Avengers? I was like, yeah, we could totally watch Avengers. But if we want to do it right, buddy, let's start from the beginning. And I threw on Iron Man. And he enjoyed most of it. He did do that wander thing. He does still kind of like, he wants to play his Switch. He wants to do other things. Mm-hmm. But I got him to like at least get the idea of what this is all about. And the stuff he did see, he was really engaged in. So it was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, there were parts during Episode 2 where Timmy was doing a headstand. I was like, dude, come on.
Can't you see the socio-political views are very important in the Jedi right now? Come on, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was like, Palpatine, look. I did say to him as well, I was like, who's in charge of Dooku? And he goes, I don't know. I was like, Palpatine. And I said, who's in charge of all the Jedis? And he goes, I don't know. I was like, Palpatine. And he goes, what? And I explained to him, like, that's how he did it. He was in charge of both sides, so he could. And he was like, So he's starting to sort of understand, which is very exciting for me because I did say to him, right, we can't watch Episode 2, Episode 3 now. We've got to watch 7 seasons of Clone Wars. He looked at me like, I'm just messing with you, kid.
So much. Clone Wars, I mean, you would think that Clone Wars would be far more palpable to, or palpatineable to the to kids more so than the movie that's all about trade routes and fucking taking over political aspirations. They're weird movies. Those first 3 are kind of weird.
Yeah, they are. The Clone Wars is something I'm watching at the moment, and the first time I tried watching it was when we were doing the Star Wars specials with Eric. Kind of just before that, actually, just randomly I started watching them, and I thought they were shit. I was struggling so much. I was really struggling. But the second time I'm watching it, and if you can get through that first season, even towards the end of the first season, it starts getting really good. And you're like, that's what happens. And oh my God, that's Darth Maul's brother. He looks like a fucking Hulk. He's like, Rrr. Fucking brilliant. Like once you get into it. So if you've never watched it, just give it a go. Just get through that first season, and I guarantee you'll start enjoying it. It's really good. And there's some amazing like voice actors in it as well. Big
yeah.
I want to get someone in from Clone Wars.
Yeah, you've been talking about that. I think it'd be awesome. Let's get Dave. What's his name? Dave Filagi.
Is he the guy that plays Anakin?
No, the guy, the Dave. He's also like a big showrunner on Mandalorian. I can't remember his
Dave Filoni.
Filoni, thank you. Yeah. Pierogi. Dave Pierogi.
Yeah. I'd love to get him like one of the main directors from the Mandalorian. Yeah, that'd be great.
I just want. I really think I'm gonna end up rewatching the Mandalorian again. Like just because of how fucking excellent it is.
I want to do it when I've got like a couple of days by myself on big 4K TV, not at work or not on my laptop, not with Timmy running around doing headstands, just big fucking. That's what I want.
Big bite.
I did message Ahmed Best, who does the voice for Jar Jar. I think he'd be a fascinating person to talk to.
Fuck
Probably
yes.
won't get back to me, but I would love to talk about this, the great job he did with the voice acting and the backlash and how it affected him, because I imagine it was terrible. But now,
Yeah.
who's got the last laugh now? Because those, when you look at like the sequels, I mean, I liked Force Awakens. I liked The Last Jedi. I wasn't too keen on Rise of Skywalker. But when you look back now, those prequels weren't too bad, were they?
No, I mean, like, once again, they're not made for us. Like, they're made for Star Wars fans. Those movies are definitely made for Star Wars fans so they can delve deeper into the Star Wars mythos, but they weren't made for us. They're made for kids. Like, that's what Star Wars is. They're made for kids. And you got to remember that just because we're adults and we expect something on the cinema doesn't mean that it's necessarily the right thing to do. We need to think about it as the way we did when we were kids. We didn't give a fuck about how different Jar Jar was as a character or what he meant to the series. We just liked it because he was funny and goofy and he added a character fucking plot.
And he's also a secret Sith.
Yeah,
I'll fight
love
people
that.
to the death. He was a secret Sith. It's a bit awkward though when it goes from episode 3 to all the fast spinny shit with the lightsaber. Strike me down, Darth, and I'll become more powerful than you ever imagined.
Well, did you ever see that footage that they filmed? They reshot that, but with people that, that was excellent. Dude, I really feel like they should just like put that into the movie and just, put a little cut. That would be fucking, because it looks great. And you're right. But the thing is, like, they were dealing with 1970s fucking digital effects, and they were doing the best they can. I know you do. Let me explain cinema to you, Alex.
There was a great one that somebody did as well, Batman versus Darth Vader, and it's fucking
I saw
brilliant. That was so good. And there's one with Batman versus Deadpool as well, and I think Batman just evaporates Deadpool with his Batmobile. It's quite good. Today's been a great show. I've really enjoyed it. I wasn't worried about it. I was just kind of like, politics, man. It's something we don't really do, but I feel like it's gone really well. I've really enjoyed it. But we have got lots to look forward to. Next week we're talking to George Bilcliffe, who's came on the Shoes Biscuit and blew my mind. Really, he's a photographer, but he also is trying to put together a survival school. And I think it's going to be great to talk to because we wanted to talk about that, didn't we? Survival skills and stuff.
Yeah,
really good.
In living in the woods, I really kind of love self-reliance, and I also am a big fan of like shows like Survivor Man, where that's all it's about is surviving out in the woods for 7 days. So I'm very, very excited for this. When you told me, you were kind of like a little bit like, oh, this is who we're going to talk to, and you were kind of like putting out there to see how I felt about it. I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome, I can't wait. And you're like, oh, good, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Right, let's get the fuck out of here. We've been going for over an hour and a half. Tom, tell people about our amazing website, mister.
Hey guys, we got a website and it's on USUKnetwork.com. It's where you can find all of our amazing shows. We got fucking quattro shows available on this website. There is What's the Difference, the show that you're listening to right now with me and Alex Whiteley, where we talk about culture and we bring on amazing guests to interview. We have USUK Chronicles, which is Jamie Westwood and Tom Stevens, and they do a similar thing, but they do it on a completely different way. It's nice to hear like two different points of view when it comes to this. And they are a couple of really funny gentlemen. You should definitely listen to them. There is Wednesday Night Live, which is our live show that we do every single week. It's kind of like if you're to walk in and listen to four friends kind of bullshit at the bar, that's what this is, except we have like good games and we have interesting people that are suckers, but not necessarily, part of the network. We also have the Weekly Bazaar, which is on a break right now, but they will be coming back for their next season sooner and later. Please keep your eyes open and your ears peeled for those things. And all of this is brought to us by the amazing people at weborchard.com. Guys, I got to tell you, I've tried using website building platforms to make a website. I've always been interested in having a website. And the fact is, I'm a busy guy. I'm a super, super busy guy. I got a family, I got a life, I got work, I got the show. I never had the time to be able to build a website that would be functional and beautiful. Well, guess what? The guys over at Web Orchard do. Now, Alex, I don't know if you know anything about Pete White, but the fact is, the dude, he came across the ocean on the Mayflower all the way back in 1622, and he built web orchard out of a grass hut on the banks of Wichita. It was a small idea he had. There wasn't even internet back then, but he's like, one day there's going to be this thing that connects all these Americans and all these people of the world together. And it's going to be the internet. And I'm going to be there to help them build the most beautiful websites that will be functional and that you can accept money through and all these things that websites do. I'm going to do that and be there for people. So what he did, Alex, was he found the Fountain of Youth. And when he did that, he stayed initially immortal. Now he kept it under, he went through many different personas only to come back as Pete White in the 2000s. So he could now do this. What are you laughing at? These are true stories. Don't laugh at true events. The immortal vampiric P. White will make you one of the greatest websites, and you can find all these great things at weborchard.com. Just drop him a line, tell him that we sent you, and be like, hey, the guys at USUKers kind of told us that you build a great website, and he will do it for you. You're gonna leave feeling like that you are the luckiest person in the world because this dude just did you the biggest favor, the biggest solid, whether you sell things online, whether you want an online presence, whatever it might be or whatever your aspirations might be for wanting a website, the people at Web Orchard will do it for you in the best way humanly possible. So go to weborchard.com for it.
Phenomenal. That's amazing. Oh, Tom Bruno, everybody. He's always a great laugh. Always a great laugh. I'm going to play us out with our intro because I forgot to make an outro video. But yeah, this has been What's the Difference podcast. I've been Alex Whiteley.
And I'm Tom Bruno.
And we fucking love you guys. Peace out. When it comes to culture either side of the Atlantic, no one does it better. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you USUK's What's the Difference podcast with Alex Whiteley and Tom Bruno.